Hey Brian, hey Linda, good to see you. Saying hi to the online folks as they say hi. Hey Donovan. Let's give it like one more minute. I got a couple people. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness class. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, as always. It's wonderful to see you. I hope you've had a good week. We're gonna. Let me ask a question. Anyone, this is the first time to the Dharma Bum Temple? Well, welcome. Welcome. Wonderful to have you. How'd you hear about us?
Oh, I saw it online.
I just saw it online? Okay. Right on. Is there anyone, this is not your first time to the Dharma Bum Temple, but this is your first time to Wednesday. Awesome. Well, welcome. Wonderful to have you both. All right. So, this class is a class on loving kindness. The only thing that makes it different than a regular class is the meditation we do is on loving kindness. The word that we talk about, for our new people, this will be review for people who've been around. The word we're really talking about is this word called Metta. And Metta is M-E-T-T-A, and it's an old Pali word. Pali is the language that we think is pretty close to what the historical Buddha spoke 2,500 years ago, or could speak. It was a liturgical language. And because it's an old word from an old language, when it gets translated into English, the meaning of this word is so rich, it could really mean a lot of things in English. So unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, goodwill, and it's simply a wish to be happy. And not only a wish for us to be happy, but a wish for others to be happy, and a wish for us and others to do the things that cause happiness. If you know anything about the Dharma Bum Temple and our motto, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, if you ever wonder what causes happiness, that's what causes happiness. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's it. That's really, really easy. I've been on, I've seen a lot of social media, in quarantine, as have we all, I'm sure. And some of the pages and people that I see, it's a little funny and in a way a little disheartening because, the key to happiness, the key to freedom, the key to not suffering, the Buddha pretty much laid out. And it's not difficult, or it's not hard to understand. It could be difficult to implement or hard to implement. Because we have to go against all of our preconceived notion, all of our tendencies. We have to realize that almost everything that we've been taught is wrong, and that just leads to suffering. And so we try to tell you, well, this is the path, and this is why you do it, which is really important. This is why you do it. And so we think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, because they cause happiness in ourselves and in others. Hi, come on in, sit. And so that's what we meditate on. And the wonderful thing about this meditation is that you don't just do this meditation sitting down. The meditation can be implemented in your total waking life, whether it's standing up, seated, lying down, walking, which are the 4 postures of meditation. In every one of those postures of meditation, you can practice loving kindness. There's this wonderful thing that I know Pema Chodron talks about, which is on-the-spot metta. So if you are in your car and you're driving by, a homeless person, or you see someone suffering on the news, or something like that, you can just stop and think to yourself, may you be happy. May you be happy. And that's it. That's on the spot metta, doing it on the spot. Understanding that this person is in distress and just wishing them happiness. Or better yet, if you can, delivering on that and just doing something for them, helping them in some way. Yesterday I read the Metta Sutta, last week I read the Metta Sutta, at least I think I did. Did I? I can't remember. I've been doing this so long, I kind of don't know what I do week to week. So I'm not going to do it again tonight, but it's a way that we just try to live our lives. When we become a Buddhist, one of the traditional things that we do is we take the precepts, and the precepts are just our training. It's a training. It's a training that we try to do. Things that we try to do to make us happy, to cause happiness in others, are really this for us. And the first thing we do is we refrain from killing living beings. These are the precepts of non-harming. We refrain from killing living beings. We refrain from lying. We refrain from sexual misconduct. We refrain from taking what is not ours, and we refrain from intoxicants or anything that leads to heedlessness. And I love the way that they put this. We refrain from something, which means that just do your best. That's all anyone really expects, and that's all you should expect of yourself, is just to do your best. We don't expect perfection, and you shouldn't expect perfection from yourselves. Because all perfectionism does is cause a lot of guilt and a lot of shame when you can't live up to that perfection. And that's terrible, but that's how we're conditioned in this country. If you're not absolutely perfect in what you do, why do it? Or you're less than as a human being, or whatever it is. And we try to get away from that in this practice, because we know as humans we're really, really fallible. And we know that we're going to screw up, and sometimes we're going to screw up royally. I still get triggered. I still have a lot of things that happen that triggers like a trauma response, because I experienced a lot of trauma when I was younger. And this just happened, I think it was Sunday. And I handled it better than I normally would, but not great. I'll admit, it wasn't great. And I knew, like, in the middle of this, that I knew what was happening, but the compulsion was still there, and it was still so strong that I just needed to like leave the situation. And I thought about it for a while, and later that night, and I thought, okay, you know, what I could have done was this to make things a little bit better. And I didn't beat myself up, and that's a big change. And that's all we're asked to do. That's all you're asked to do, is just to try your best and know you don't have to be perfect. And then take stock every once in a while, like, hey, are these practices working for me or not? And if they're working for you, great, keep on doing them. And if they're not, then just, you can chuck it. That's fine. This is not for everybody. And that's the other thing I like about Buddhism, is that, you know, there's no like, we got to get you and keep you here. We don't do that. And we're not about that. And we're never going to be about that. There's no proselytizing. There's no, you know, trying to, well, in this space anyway, no trying to get your money. I mean, we have donation drives a couple of times a year, but it's not a requirement. We don't charge anything to come here. All of our classes are free because the Dharma should be free. And Jeff has really been adamant about that since day one, and I agree with that. It should be free. I haven't done, I mean, what's pretty typical in a lot of like Western Buddhist spaces, like at the end of the class, they do a Dana talk. It's very common. And the Dana talk goes something like, thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. You know, we do our best to give you this space. And, you know, the practice of Dana, or the word just means generosity, is really, really important. So anything that you can give to help us keep this space going and keep the classes going, we really appreciate it, which is beautiful and it's wonderful. But we decided never to do that. We want you to give because you want to, not because we're trying to coerce you or force you or manipulate you in some way. So we have like a donation box and in the back, and sometimes people ask me, hey, do you have a donation box? Oh yeah, it's back there. We greatly appreciate everything. Because we don't want you to come here and feel like, oh my God, I didn't bring any money with me, or oh, I have to bring something, or I'm going to feel bad. Don't feel bad. I have plenty of people who come here who just can't. That's okay. And so just because of that, this allowed me to breathe in this practice, because I never thought someone was wanting me to do something that maybe I wasn't ready to do. So anyway, hello Marisa. I'm just saying hi to people online. Hello folks. So we're going to do this meditation on loving kindness. I'm going to guide it. And I do it in this modified way, which I like a lot. And it's a way that really works well for Westerners. So we're going to first get comfortable with the breath for a few minutes, and then we're going to do loving kindness for what we call a benefactor or a loved one. And then we're going to imagine our loved one doing this practice for us, and all we have to do is just receive all of their love. And then we're going to do loving kindness for ourselves, and then we're going to do loving kindness for all beings in all directions, and really explore the limitless quality of the heart, which the heart does have this limitless quality, so we're going to explore that. And then that's it. And then after that, we're going to have a question and answer. Sometimes I have things I want to say, like I said at the beginning here, and sometimes not. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your experience of meditation, what that was like for you, if there's any part that was easy or difficult. I want to hear any questions you might have about Buddhism. And let's just do it. Any questions before we start? All right, you guys ready? Hi, Linda. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha, sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. For the historical Buddha, it was the Bodhi tree. For you, you can choose any tree you want because every Buddha has their own tree. So you can choose the redwood of enlightenment, the sequoia of enlightenment, the oak tree of enlightenment. Whatever it is you want, it's fine. Just let my words wash over you. Don't hang on to them too much. This is just going to give you some basic instruction. And sit calmly. There's nothing else to do, nowhere else to be but right here. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing the breath, letting it be quite easy and quite natural at first. And then just finding that breath that's nice and comfortable for you. It might be deeper or shallower for you. So just experiment with that and know that throughout this meditation, you always want to maintain at least like 25% of your attention on the breath. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you here in the present moment. But for now, as gently as you can, just rest in the sensations of the breath. to begin our formal practice of Metta meditation, let's think of a benefactor. And a benefactor is just anyone who is close to you, who has shown you great love and great kindness. They can be living or not living, a family member of some kind, a best friend, someone on TV you like, who's meant a lot to you. There's no need to struggle to find this person. If you can't find a person, can you remember just like a single act that somebody did that was really nice? That you thought, oh, that's really nice, thank you. So just call this person to mind, and all you have to do is radiate loving kindness to this person. And however you understand that word radiate, it could be like a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs, or this beam can be warm or cool, it could be pulsating or vibrating. Imagine them smiling, and imagine yourself smiling at them, and maybe it even makes you smile. Smiling is really important. It develops, it generates these positive mind states we're looking for. It's easier to stay out of suffering with a positive mind state, so the best you can, let's just smile while we're doing it. So for the next couple of moments, we're going to do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. So shifting our focus from doing this practice for a benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. It could be the same benefactor, a different one, doesn't matter. Just picture them in your mind's eye. And just imagine them radiating loving kindness to you. You already have the experience of their loving kindness, which is why they're a benefactor. And your only job is just to receive all of their loving kindness for you into your own heart. And how much of their loving kindness can you receive? Can you receive all of it? Is there any tension in your own heart when you try to receive their loving kindness? If so, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Maybe you can put your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath. Don't struggle against the tightness, just breathe. Can you put your hand over your heart and you breathe? Does the tightness get relieved at all? If it doesn't dissipate, don't focus on it. Just let it be. And allow as much of their loving kindness into your own heart as you can. So we'll do this for the next few moments. And of course, smile. perhaps the most important part of this meditation is, can we now do this practice for ourselves? And we can either imagine shooting a beam into our own heart. We can even say phrases of loving kindness and just think about your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe, protected, free from danger, healthy, all of these things that everyone wishes for themselves. It's okay to have loving kindness for yourself. You can repeat phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Just repeat one or more of those phrases to yourself over and over. Again, smiling always helps. Putting your hand over your heart wouldn't be a bad idea either. It's all right. So again, just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. finally, we can explore this limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. You just radiate loving kindness out as far out as it will go. Radiating upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. May all beings be at ease. Whatever the living beings there may be, near or far, omitting none. So let's do this, radiating loving kindness to all beings just for the next few minutes to end our this wonderful meditation on loving kindness, on Metta. Open your eyes when you're ready. Let's just take the next couple of moments out in silence as we stretch our arms and we stretch our legs. Keeping those thoughts of loving kindness about us. You too, guys. Then we'll begin in a minute. Okay. Oh, it's good for me. Anybody else? Good. Doesn't have to be, but it is. It was for me. So I always feel, a bit calmer after this meditation. And I think I felt even better just because I was sitting in a chair. Normally I sit on a meditation mat and cushion, kind of like you're doing. And the last few times was my leg just started falling asleep, and it was really, really hurting. Which is really unusual because I don't really get this way at home when I sit. But these cushions are really hard. And as I get older, I need something a little softer. And so I just said, hey, get sit in the chair. And the great thing is, and what I tell a lot of people is that it doesn't matter if you sit in a chair or whether you sit on a cushion. You're not more spiritual if you sit on a cushion rather than if you sit in a chair. You look at all these meditation magazines, and it's always some woman, blonde, skinny woman in yoga pants, sitting on a cushion, just back straight, thin, and and I get angry every time I see that, just because that's not meditation. I just look around this room and I see you all meditating. That's meditation. Meditation is for everybody. And the way it gets portrayed, especially to sell magazines or views or something like that, is very kind of stereotypical. And every time I see that, I just get a little more annoyed. So I'm glad you're all here. And so this part really is just to hear from you. It could be about, I'm always very interested to understand what your experience of meditation was, like what was going through your head. Was there a part of the meditation that was harder or easier, or just general impressions, or question about Buddhism or meditation, or something related to this class? So yeah, yes sir.
The part that's difficult for me is directing loving kindness at myself.
Sure.
I have no problem loving kindness other people. No problem benefactors. No problem even people who have done me dirt.
Yeah. The enemy.
I'm a Buddhist. I'm wise. I'm yada yada yada.
Right.
But I know my own faults, and to say, okay, you're still worthy of loving kindness, even though you do this, is difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how we're conditioned. That's how we're conditioned. And none of it is true. And one really good way, and I'll get to your question right after him. And one really good exercise that I find helpful is to go into like a body meditation, because this is where suffering lives, here, right? And if you're doing loving kindness for yourself, you're gonna feel it here somewhere. It may be in your head, in your mind, in your body. Often it's in your body somewhere. Is it that way for you? Is it in your head? In your head?
Yeah.
All right, it's fine. And so whenever that happens, you can just stop and just feel what's going on in your head. Just the physical sensation of what's going on in your head. Because even these thoughts can have the physical manifestation of something going on here, right? And instead of focusing on the content of the thought, or whatever that might be, you just focus on the physical sensation. And you're not believing any of these thoughts. You're just focusing on the physical sensation of discomfort, wherever that discomfort is. And you breathe in, and you breathe out, and you breathe in, and you breathe out. And you're really not even doing loving kindness meditation at this point, right? And because you're just kind of meeting that suffering right there. You're just meeting that suffering. So what's here? What is that? What is this sensation that I'm feeling? Not the content of thought. What is this sensation that I'm feeling? Get really interested in this sensation, as difficult as it is. And get curious, and get curious, and get curious, and get curious. And you'll notice that this sensation will go away eventually. But it will happen. And I know Pema Chodron, I come back to her a lot, but she was relating the story of, I think it was a friend of hers who had this constant dream of being chased by dinosaurs. And this is a really common dream. It doesn't have to be dinosaurs, but you can just be chased. Like this kind of recurring dream. And I think she said, did it ever occur to you that when you were running, that you could just stop and look back and see what it is that's chasing you? Just look at it instead of like fleeing from it, if you can do that. And so she said that she was able to do that. And when I looked around, the dinosaur just went away. When I looked at it, it just went away. And this will take a while because we're so conditioned after years, after decades of living, to not think of ourselves that it's selfish and that's wrong and it's bad. We have these thoughts of, if you knew what I know about me, you wouldn't think this way. That's the big one. If you knew what I knew, you basically just said it. If you knew what I knew about me, you wouldn't think this way. And that's what most people think. And can you understand that most people think that way? They cannot deal with that. They play over and over in their minds all of their thoughts. Almost, it seems to be 24/7 sometimes. And that these people who offer you loving kindness or have been loving and kind to you also see you. And they're loving and kind to you anyway.
Delusional.
Yeah. And can you think about that? And that's why we do the first two parts first, to kind of soften you up, to kind of tenderize you. You know? And so then can you offer loving kindness to yourself? And I know you haven't been to this particular class. I said you were new to this class, right?
Well, it's been a year.
It's been a while, right? And so, and I say it in almost every class, if you did nothing but loving kindness for yourself for about 7 to 10 years, that's time well spent. Because other countries, especially Buddhist countries, they don't have this problem. They don't have this problem of self-denigration, self-deprecation. It just doesn't exist. Because they were taught from an early age generosity, and they were taught kindness, and they were taught eventually Buddhist practices. And they were taught that, you know what? I'm imperfect, and that's fine. And I'm just going to try my best. And that's why we say in the precepts, I'm going to refrain from doing this, which means I'm just going to try my best not to do this. And if I slip up, that's okay. I'll just reflect on that and see what I did wrong or what I can do better. And I'm going to try again because I'm worth it. My freedom from suffering is worth this. Yes, and then I'll continue.
Originally, I had a thought when you were talking about refraining and striving for protection. And you said what you said. I didn't know anything about you, and it didn't stop me whatsoever. I didn't filter out sending love and kindness to you. So what he thinks about himself kind of doesn't matter to the rest of us, right? We radiate it out. We give it unconditionally. So it was coming to you. You deserve it. What more do you need to know?
But it's that mind that tells us, that monkey mind that has conditioned us for, looking at everybody here, decades, for every one of us. And that conditioning takes time. It takes time to overcome. And we have to be really, really, really patient and really kind to ourselves and come back to center every time that we get discouraged or beat ourselves up and say, you idiot, how could you have done that? You should know better. You're a Buddhist. Like Buddhists are supposed to be perfect. You're not. But we try our best. And we know everyone else is just trying their best because living, we have a lot of advantages here, but it's really hard.
I was wondering if you could reflect a little bit, because I'm a person who got perfection at that. Try your best, don't worry if you are not perfect. But it seems like maybe I put too much of my attentions into one thing and getting it done instead of all these distractions. And, it's like I'm not much of a multitasker sometimes. And I try maybe too hard to be perfect in the task that I take on, whether it be for myself or for others or whatever it may be. And when you first talked about that at the very beginning, it's just like went off like a zinger in my head, like, oh my God, I am being way too strict with myself.
So you stopped and you reflected.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's literally the first step. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if you can repeat the four precepts.
Five.
Five precepts.
I told him in the wrong order last time. Let's see if I can tell him the right order this time. I got like 2 and 4 mixed up. So we refrain from killing living beings. We refrain from taking what is not ours. Sometimes they just say refrain from stealing. We refrain from sexual misconduct or harming others with our sexuality. We refrain from we refrain from incorrect speech, and that could be lying or harsh speech. In the precept, it's really just lying. The precept says just lying. But I just say incorrect speech because there's lots of incorrect speeches. Harsh speech, passive-aggressive speech, those types of things. But the precept is just lying. And then finally, refrain from intoxicants.
Is there one that you see more important than the other?
They're all important because they're all precepts of non-harming. They're all ways that we can harm ourselves and others. So I think that it's okay to focus on some. Like if you want to focus on harsh speech, right? Or just incorrect speech. You can do that. That's fine. And there are a lot of people here who drink, who have beer, wine, whatever. That's fine. But, don't take that precept that day if you know you're going to drink. That's okay too. You'll get there eventually. Right? And so, yeah, you can focus on one. That's perfectly acceptable. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
There's so much. I'll try to edit this. Thank you for the metaphor of the tree, because all my life I tried to present as this mighty, majestic oak. It's not the real me, though. And it served me well up until quarantine last year. Quarantine got the best of me. And that oak tree got chopped down and put to a wood chipper and burned, and all I had left was ashes. So what I really am is this Charlie Brown Christmas tree willow. Battered, bruised, cut, burned, slashed, barely hang, maybe 3 leaves on it. But those 3 leaves are indicative of my resilience. And that's the authentic me. That's the vulnerable me. And that's the me that can extend compassion to other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was tripping on that the whole time. I'm the little tree.
Well, this idea of, what I said was, imagine yourselves as a Buddha, and every Buddha has their own tree, and if they do, this Buddha Shakyamuni from the historical Buddha from 2,500 years ago, not the only Buddha. Every age has their own Buddha. And there's like the 7 Buddhas of antiquity, which are the most recent 7. They even have further back, and there's going to be another one, Buddha Maitreya, who's like the next Buddha. This is all like Buddhist lore, but it's fun. And but they all have their own tree, right? And so you could have your own tree. It doesn't matter if you made a mistake. You don't have to be the sad willow. That's just, to me, that's just more self-denigration. Oh, I'm not a mighty oak anymore because I made a mistake, or quarantine got the best of me. So what? You can still be a mighty oak. You can still, and this is, this happens in recovery a lot. I'm in recovery, so this idea of acting as if. Doesn't matter. You can still act as if you are, sitting underneath that mighty oak tree. That's fine. You can still be a mighty oak.
Can I throw one idea out?
I'm sorry?
Can I throw an idea out?
Yeah, throw an idea out, yes.
Think of COVID as a hurricane. And willows tend to survive hurricanes because they bend. They don't break. Their leaves get stripped off, but the leaves come back because the willow did this, and when the hurricane went by, it did that again.
Anything else before we?
My Charlie Brown Christmas tree. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. The mighty willow.
Any other questions before we end tonight? Yes.
Not a question, but I was just gonna make a quick comment.
Sure.
I liked your saying to smile. I think you've said that before, but this time I really did it. And it made a difference.
Yeah, it always makes a difference. Did anybody else smile? Awesome. Can't tell. That's only
But
bad
the
news.
mask actually kind of helped in that sense, because it doesn't feel weird, like no one can see me.
Right. Well, that's just the thing about masks that I actually like, because I'm a weirdo and I talk to myself a lot. And with the mask, you can never tell. And I have to take the mask off, and I'm at these at work, these work meetings on Microsoft Teams and Zoom and whatever, and I'm on mute, and I'm just kind of distracted, and I just start yapping to myself, and they tell me, Alex, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're talking. You're on mute. I said, I'm not on mute. I'm not on mute. I'm just talking to myself. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. You two guys. May the benefits of this meditation, this discussion be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye. Bye now. Take care.
Have a good night.
Now you too. See you guys. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh, thank you so much.